Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at something pretty stunning, visually I mean, how you can take a plain wall and, well, turn it into basically a piece of art. We're diving into Venetian plaster, specifically creating this really striking black and white marble effect. And all our insights today, they're coming straight from this fantastic demo we found over on the At Real Decor YouTube channel, really detailed stuff. Our mission then is to kind of demystify this whole process, break it down, step by step, and look at the techniques, sure, but also maybe the thinking behind it, how to get that really beautiful finish. Okay, let's unpack this. How a wall becomes, well, this elegant thing with just two colors and some specific know-how.
It really is amazing. You see this incredibly complex final look, but the source material really emphasizes that the basic techniques, they're actually surprisingly accessible.
Yeah, I thought that too. That's what makes it so cool. So it all kicks off with the foundation, right? Getting that first black layer on. And the first step they show is actually about managing your materials. You only tone the amount of black plaster you think you'll need for that specific wall.
Right. It's efficient, sure, but it's more than that. It's about precision, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Precision in prep. It means the plaster stays consistent while you work with that batch, which is, pretty crucial for an even look later.
And the tool they use for this first layer, it's not just any trowel.
Oh, yeah.
The source highlights this specific Venetian trowel, the Finia, and its key feature, those rounded edges.
Okay.
Not just for looks, they're absolutely fundamental, both for putting it on and, critically, for polishing later. They're designed so the material on the trowel doesn't accidentally smudge the wall when you're doing the delicate bits.
Ah, okay. That makes total sense. The tool is really designed for the job. And applying that black plaster, the actual technique, the video makes it look, well, pretty straightforward. You lift one edge of the trowel, press with the other, and it creates these streaks or veins. That's the start of your marble pattern.
And simple idea, really.
Yeah, and they describe it as simple, creative. It says you don't need amazing art skills, which is kind of encouraging for something that ends up looking so fancy.
It does feel like something you could learn with a bit of patience. But what if you, mess up? Apply too much or not enough?
Right, good question. And the source actually gives a lot of reassurance there.
Okay.
If you slap on too much plaster, it's not the end of the world. You can sand it down later.
Oh, okay. Fixable.
Totally fixable. And if you don't put enough, or you decide later you want more streaks somewhere, you can just add a bit more locally.
So there's flexibility built in? That's good to know for something like this. You can tweak it.
Definitely. And that leads to this really interesting bit of advice they give.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing less right away is better. They say if a streak looks a bit off or maybe too crude is the word they used, artana. Resist that urge to immediately fiddle with it with the trowel.
Why is that?
Yeah.
Seems like the obvious thing to do.
Because apparently trying to fix it right then and there usually makes it worse. You waste time, you might mess it up more.
Okay, so what's the solution then?
The solution comes later in the next steps. You make controlled adjustments then. It's this whole philosophy of trusting the process, letting it layer, patience.
Patience is key then.
Yeah.
Because you're building this effect up layer by layer. Each one has its job, its moment for refinement. It's not a quick fix.
Exactly. It's definitely not a sprint.
Right.
So you've got that first black layer down, you've practiced some restraint. Now you get to the refining part.
Yeah.
Drying, sanding, cleaning.
Right.
The black layer has to dry completely. Then any rough bits or those crude streaks we talked about, you smooth them out with sandpaper, giving it some definition.
And after sanding comes cleaning.
Yeah.
Critically important.
Yeah, they really stress this. You use a damp sponge, and you have to get all the dust off the surface meticulously.
It's not just about being tidy. It's essential for the next layers to stick properly. And this leads to maybe the biggest warning in the whole process.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
A real aha moment, especially if you've ever painted walls. After this first layer of Venetian plaster is on and cleaned, do not prime the wall.
Wait, really? No primer? That feels completely wrong. Every painting job starts with primer.
I know. But with Venetian plaster, it's different. It relies on bonding to itself, layer to layer. If you put primer in between...
Let me guess. It won't stick.
Exactly. The next layers will just peel off or detach. It basically ruins the whole thing.
Yeah.
The primer blocks that natural bond.
Wow. Okay, so remove the dust, yes, but no priming. Got it. That's a huge takeaway.
Absolutely critical.
And they also say, after cleaning, if you look at it and think, needs a bit more black here, or there's an empty spot.
You can add more.
Yep. You can go back and add small amounts of black plaster locally, same technique as before. And again, if you overdo it slightly, you can sand it down later.
It really does sound incredibly forgiving, doesn't it? For something that looks so high-end.
It does. That ability to iterate, to refine, it takes the pressure off getting it perfect the very first time.
Yeah, that artistic freedom seems central to the whole thing.
Which I guess brings us to the really artistic part. Adding the white layer.
The big reveal starts here.
Right. So the black layer is totally dry. It's clean, no primer. Then you start applying the white Venetian plaster. And this is where that dark base starts to transform into something resembling marble.
And the technique here is fascinating. You're not just covering the black up.
No.
The idea is to apply the white, but then actively try to remove the excess white from over the dark streaks you created earlier.
So you're letting the black show through deliberately.
Exactly. You're revealing those underlying veins. That's what creates the depth, that multi-layered marble look. It's more like unveiling than just painting over.
And you can control how much black shows through.
Yeah, the source mentions you can play with the thickness of the white layer. Apply it thicker for a more solid, opaque white look.
Or thinner.
Or thinner, yeah, for more transparency, letting more black peek through. You're kind of sculpting with opacity.
That sounds really cool. So you can really dial in the look you want.
And speaking of dialing it in, how many times can you tweak it? What if you add white and think, uh-oh, too much, or not enough black?
Good point. The source says something pretty remarkable about this.
What's that?
That you can sand, add more black, add more white. Basically, this process can be done indefinitely.
Wow.
Indefinitely, that's what they claim. Until you get exactly the effect you're happy with, it just emphasizes how iterative it is. You're not locked into your first attempt.
That is incredibly empowering. You can just keep working it.
Totally. And to help get it right, they give a really practical tip. Before you even pick up the trowel, look at pictures of real marble.
Get some inspiration.
Yeah, or even sketch out the kind of vein patterns you want on paper first. Helps guide your hand, make your vision concrete.
Makes sense. Having that visual target is key.
Yeah.
And application techniques. They mention a specific polishing method too, right? While it's still wet.
Oh yeah, wet polishing. Mayaruo.
Right.
Yeah.
How does that work exactly?
So you apply the plaster over maybe 3 or 4 square meters. Then, just as it starts to set up, starts to dry a bit,
You go back over it.
you go back and polish that section. And this is where those rounded trowel edges are essential again.
Right. To avoid messing it up.
Exactly. They let you polish without the edge digging in or material on the trowel smearing the surface, even though it's not fully hard yet. Ensures a really clean finish.
It's amazing how the tool and the technique are just perfectly matched.
Isn't it? Okay, so
sure.
layers are on, maybe some wet polishing happened. Now comes the big transformation, right? The intensive dry polishing.
Yeah.
This is where that surface, which might look kind of chalky or mostly white,
Starts to really shine.
yeah, it becomes that rich, reflective marble.
So after the white plaster is fully dry, you do another light sanding. But this isn't just for smoothness.
No.
It's specifically to open up those dark streaks even more. Makes the black deeper, intensifies the contrast, makes those veins really pop.
Okay, bringing out the pattern. And then comes the power tool.
The mechanical polishing. This takes the shine to a whole new level.
They mention using superfine sandpaper, like #600 grit, but worn to 0. So incredibly smooth.
Almost like buffing it.
Yeah. And you attach this to an orbital sander or an angle grinder that has speed control. They suggest like 3rd or 4th speed.
Not too fast, then.
Right. And you use circular motions. The goal is that mirror shine.
And the result?
The black gets even darker, richer, super saturated, and you get this amazing polish, even on bits that might have looked a bit flat or matte after the first sanding. The reflectivity is supposed to be incredible.
There's a key warning here, though, from the source about corners.
Oh, yeah. What's the danger?
Be super careful when polishing near corners. The sanding disc can easily kind of bend or deform in that tight space.
And scratch the wall.
Exactly. Scratches the wall, undoes all that hard work. Got to be precise right to the very end.
That's a really important practical tip. Easy to mess up right at the finish line. And speaking of tools, they also had a preference for the grinder itself, didn't they?
They did. They recommended using a smaller, lighter angle grinder.
Why is that?
Easier to control.
Yeah, easier to handle with one hand, apparently, and less likely to rip out of your hand when you're doing all that polishing.
Just practical wisdom from actually doing the work.
Makes sense. Experience talking.
Definitely. And the payoff for all that careful polishing. Like I said, it's dramatic. The black gets so deep. like ink. You get that perfect shine everywhere. Transforms it.
Which leads us right to the grand finale, the waxing. The final step for protection and, well, even more shine.
Right. Locking it all in and adding that last bit of richness.
But crucially, not just any wax will do, right?
Absolutely not. This is really important for compatibility.
Yeah.
The source stresses. Use a wax that's specifically made for Venetian plaster. And, ideally, get it from the same company that made the plaster.
To guarantee they work together properly.
Exactly. Ensures they're chemically compatible, avoids any weird reactions, peeling, discoloration down the line, guarantees the best look and durability. It's a detail, but a critical one.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to ruin it at the very last stage with the wrong wax.
Yeah.
And for applying and polishing the wax, they mention tools.
They do. They suggest things like a sheepskin pad or felt circles, Hoyora. Seems like both work well, so some options there.
Good to know.
And the effect of this final wax layer, the source describes it as making the wall even darker.
Wow, even darker than after the polishing.
Apparently so. It intensifies the contrast even more and creates this amazing shine. Just enhances the depth, the richness, makes the whole marble effect really pop. It takes it from beautiful to, well, breathtaking.
What's fascinating here is, how that final step just elevates everything. It's the finishing touch that makes it complete. And that pretty much brings us through the whole journey, doesn't it? Our deep dive into creating black and white Venetian plaster. We went from, toning that first black layer, carefully refining it, adding the white in that sort of artistic dance, through all the meticulous sanding and polishing, and then finally sealing it with wax.
Yeah.
What seems like this incredibly complex, high-end finish is actually broken down into these manageable steps. Makes it feel, well, surprisingly doable.
So what does this all really mean?
Okay.
I think it means that even something that looks this specialized, this luxurious Venetian plaster, it's actually within reach,
Right.
if you're interested.
Yeah.
The source material, it really hammers home that point with desire, careful work, and yes, some practice.
Yeah.
Anyone can learn these techniques, get professional-looking results.
Absolutely. And we hope this deep dive has given you a really solid understanding of the process. Maybe you appreciate the craft more now, or hey, maybe you're even thinking about giving it a go yourself. So here's a final thought to leave you with. The whole process we just talked about. Creating this stunning marble effect. It involved, embracing little imperfections along the way, making adjustments, patiently building it up layer by layer.
Right, that iterative approach.
Exactly. So consider this. How could applying that same kind of patient, iterative approach, where maybe mistakes aren't failures, but just chances to refine, how could that transform a challenge, any challenge that you're facing right now?